Hello, hello, and welcome to another edition of Dinsdale 123's Toy Review. I am Michael Kraus here for 3GodKings. It is the premiere weekend of The Dark Knight, and I'm sure everyone has seen it. If not, you definitely should go see it now. I am no other than Times Square Toys R Us here in the great state of New York, New York. And this week we're going to analyze something special. We're going to analyze the evolution of the Dark Knight himself's versions of action figures. To begin with, I brought one of my classic action figures. If anybody has ever had a Batman action figure, and trust me, everyone has, we can definitely all see in everybody's collections that we have 100 of these 3.5-inch action figures. More than hundreds. I at least have 100 of these at home. It's a very simple action figure, very limited articulation. If we look at it, hands don't exactly move. We only have 2 points on the arms, 2 points on the legs. Frankly, it's not a very good figure. It never has been. Recently, about 4 years ago, DC actually created a new toy line done by Mattel called the DC Superheroes line. With it came one of the best action figures we've seen to date. This is a Batman action figure from this line, from the first wave. Excellent 6-inch scale, definitely my favorite. If you can see it, the paint job is somewhat of a gritty. They darken the cape a little bit, darken the arms. It's a very interesting figure. My one big complaint with it being the articulation on the head. There is no ball joint, so he cannot look up. Batman will always have a hunch to him. Even more recent, DC ended up evolving their toy line from DC Superheroes to the DC Universe Classics, which I'm sure everyone has heard of already. From Wave 1 is the Classic Detective Batman. This is an excellent looking figure and by far the very best action figure I've ever seen of Batman. We have full articulation, hands, wrists, legs, knees. We don't have a toe articulation, which is a staple of Marvel Legends, but my favorite, we have an excellent ball joint on the neck. The cape again is plastic, just like the original figure, whereas a lot of the older figures from the 90s, 80s, well, from whenever, are all cloth capes. There are a few plastic capes, which are nice, but this is a cloth one. Moving on, apart from this being the very best figure and probably one of my favorite figures I have in my collection, we have the Dark Knight movie line. Mattel, sculpted by the Four Horsemen, decided to make the Movie Masters versions. Now there are many other versions of this Dark Knight movie figures. A lot of them are done a little bit bigger than 3.5-inch, more or less the 4.5-inch. And this is the kind of a nod to all the collectors out there. The Four Horsemen wanted to make sure we're all pleased with it. They did an absolute excellent sculpt, and the packaging looks really decent too. We have a Dark Knight logo up in the front. We can see that the first wave, the second wave is scheduled to come out soon, comprises of regular Batman. Batman with the chase figure is with just Christian Bale's face, the Joker, and the Goon. As you can see, it's excellent, excellent looking packaging. No clamshells. It's the same scale of DC Universe Classics line, which is always a plus. Go ahead and open this up here. All right. Now we see Batman for his true colors. It does come with a little accessory and an evidence bag for us to keep it in. Don't exactly see the point of this. It's kind of gimmicky. You really can't do anything with this. You can't wear it. You can't put it on. I would have preferred a batarang of some sort or something more movie oriented. Taking the figure out again with no stickies this time around. Cape does get stuck here. We see the Dark Knight in his new rendition, sculpted by the Four Horsemen, the movie version of Christian Bale. It's an excellent looking figure. It's his exact costume from the movie. We have wonderful articulation, you can see, articulated at the ankles, on the kneecaps, on the arms. No finger articulation. That is one thing I've always noticed about these newer DC lines. On the plus side, they have explained that the reason they have chosen this is they want to standardize the accessories. That way, for instance, the Penguin, which came out in the DC Universe Classic Series 1 line, came with an umbrella. That way, if Batman wanted to use an umbrella because it was raining someday, he certainly can. It'll all fit. But it is in a bad way. We can't do anything really cool with the hands because there's no articulation there. The cape, again, is one of those plastic versions. It's a bit bulkier, but then again, his suit was, I noticed, is kind of bulkier in the movie than it is in the comics when you compare it to the originals. So let's stand it next to each other. We can definitely see that the DC Universe Classics line fits right alongside it, maybe just a little bit shorter, which is, like I've always said, normal for movie versions. Great looking figure, stands alongside, very unnoticeable. And finally, we get a dark version of the Dark Knight rather than the classic collectors. Overall, these are great two figures you want to put on your desk. I highly recommend you getting them. Now, the Movie Masters line, unfortunately, has been recalled. So that is why over here in our Toys R Us in Manhattan, they don't have any. All they have are these large displays of all the 4.5 to 5-inch scale versions, which I do not care for. The paint scheme is very low quality, the articulation's very low. It's kind of like the older versions of Batman that every kid has. Because of this, I guess this recall, I believe it was recalled due to the paint scheme might have been using lead inside it. We might be able to see these figures raise in price. I was lucky enough to purchase these first week they came out. This is quite a bit ago. So I do have all three in A-list packaging. The Joker seems to be the most popular as of right now. He is running anywhere upwards from $50 or more on eBay. Everyone's trusted lender there. But the Batman figure, I assume, will be coming up in price. Now, Wave 2 should be coming out shortly. I believe there will be a Batman Begins version of Batman, along with a Scarecrow. Keep your eye out for that. It'll be very interesting. There might be a review later on, so watch out. And I guess that concludes Mike's toy review. Check back for 3GodKings later, 3GodKings.com. And I'm going to go ahead and enjoy the rest of my stay here in Manhattan, New York, and hopefully not get my expensive camcorder this is being recorded on stolen. Thank you. Goodbye.